Hey, welcome back to Real at Midnight. This is TK.
This is Va.
This is Tutor.
And I guess today we're talking about gender roles for the male perspective.
In response to the ladies.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This was it last week's episode?
Something like that.
Yep.
Yeah. So did you guys listen to it all?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah.
I think we all did.
Yeah. I did.
I took notes too, but I didn't bring it today.
All right. Before we do that, we're going to open our drink. We have this drink called what was it called? Disaronno with Corona, and it's supposed to taste just like Dr. Pepper, so we're going to figure this out. We're going to find out.
Oh, also we're not sponsored. Just so everybody knows.
Yep. We just like to drink.
So we're supposed to drink these in tandem, like together.
No. So what you do is you open your Corona, you take maybe like a good gulp, and then you'll then put your Disaronno in, and then mix it, swirl it.
So much.
I mean, this is what 50 milliliters, so it should just be like a shot, ounce and a half, maybe.
Yeah, ounce and a half.
So,
All right.
All right, show me how it's done.
cool. So
Sounds
let's
like
all take our first gulp. Gotta make room. So cheers.
Cheers. I spilled some on myself.
Nice.
All right. So
And then just pour it in.
okay. Oh,
Oh, careful there.
magic.
Oh, I don't know if that's gonna be a good idea.
Who likes to do that with the Corona in the lime wedge?
I don't know.
I've never done it. 'Cause that's what I'm afraid of.
Oh yeah.
Okay, it's fine.
Now I gotta wash your hand. Oh jeez.
It's okay. My dog will come leak up. All right, another one.
Okay.
Let's see.
So cheers
First
for
reactions.
the
Cheers.
for the
Cheers.
viewers that are just watching us or listening to us podcast.
Oh, it smells like.
Yeah,
it smells like Dr. Pepper.
Va's beer just overflowed, but it should be okay.
Right?
Oh, a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, it has that cherry smell.
Yeah, it has a cherry
Yeah, it
smell.
does.
But it's also very artificial. But okay, cheers guys.
All right, cheers.
Wow.
It does taste like Dr. Pepper.
Yeah, it's a little dangerous.
Mm.
Because it kind of takes away like the weedy beer flavor,
Mm-hmm.
but then it gives you kind of a sweet cherry note.
Mm.
Yeah.
It's like a flat Dr. Pepper.
Yeah, yeah.
Let us know if you guys have tried this before. It's Disaronno and Corona Extra. All right. Anyways, down to the topic today. Gender roles. Let us know if you guys agree with us or not. Okay, you want to start? You had notes.
So I guess we could first talk about our childhood upbringing, right? Like our roles in the family, how our family functioned, and I guess how that relates to Hmong culture, right?
Okay.
So, starting things off, family-wise, I am the second youngest of 7 siblings, or seven kids. The oldest is like mid upper 30s, and right now I'm 29, right? And then the youngest, he just turned 21.
Really?
So
Yeah.
there's kind of a gap, right? My parents Dad's in his like early 60s. Mom is maybe mid 50s, upper 50s. Honestly, I should know their age. I should be a better son. But
Much though.
yeah, in the family hierarchy, I guess I'm on the younger end. So I never really had too much family responsibilities in a sense of like family gatherings or having outside people call you to like do things, you know. I was never really exposed to that. My brother, my oldest brother, he wasn't really in my childhood a lot. I think because he had his
His own
own,
group of friends. To hang with.
yeah, he has his own group of friends. He I guess he was locked up too, so he was away
Oh,
while I was younger. But I mean, he wasn't really there, so he wasn't really called upon. But the times that I do remember, he was like the main person that they would call on, instead of my dad. In our family branch, I suppose my dad because he's the oldest of his siblings, and they call on him a lot. But then since he's on the older end, doesn't really drink, so my oldest brother would go in place. But since he kind of went away, he like our family was never really called much. So in my experience, like we didn't really have a lot to offer, you know?
I see.
Yeah. So then didn't have really too much experience in like the funeral setting or the wedding setting, kind of all that. Yeah. What about you guys?
TJ, you want to start?
Yeah, I can start. I mean, I kind of grew up in a Christian home because ever since I was born, my family were already going to church. And so a lot of the Hmong guy or like Hmong culture stuff, I mean, I knew about it, but then I wasn't really like participating in those things, kind of like what you were saying, TK, like the wedding stuff and like the funeral stuff and whatnot. Like, I just didn't know like all the things, right, that a guy should know in that culture, right?
Nope,
If
I
we're
agree.
talking about like gender roles, like a guy should know how to go like whatever when it comes to those kind of things, you know. But for me, grew up in like a Christian family, so like we didn't do a lot of those things. A lot of things we did was just revolved around the church, you know, and church members. So I grew up in a home like that, and then I think part of it had to do also with like the fact that my parents, they also divorced a little kind of like early on during my childhood too. So ever since my dad left, it was just me, my siblings, and like my mom, right? I'm like the middle child, but then like I remember growing up in my family, like my parents were always like I guess like my upbringing, I've always been brought up like equal, I guess, like
Explain that.
like equal as in like, oh, like you should do your dishes too, you know, like when we all cook, we all take turns cooking, we all take turns doing dishes, cleaning the house, those kind of things, right?
Like responsibilities.
Right, and if we don't do it, then we get
Get your ass whipped. Right?
exactly, you know,
You get the slipper.
so it was like brought up equal, you know. So like if we're talking about like gender roles, and that I guess to me didn't really apply to me until like I got married, because like for me when I got married to Jessica, then because her and her family, they're so traditional, right? And so I had to start learning those things, right? As like itu vauna, right? As a husband, right? So I had to start learning those things because I'm like, oh crap, like now I have to, because their family, they run things differently. I have to start learning those things and doing what they're doing, learning those little nuances and everything, you know.
Yeah.
So I mean that's just kind of how it was for me.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. I also would like to mention our family is Christian too. So then in the same way, a lot of outside family members, when they do like the shaman stuff, like my parents were like, no, we're not gonna let you be exposed to that. Like,
Yeah, same.
yeah,
Same.
because we're
Yep.
living a different life now.
Yep.
Like, that should be out of your life. You don't need to know any of that knowledge.
Yeah, yeah.
But then now, since we're older, we're exposed to that. You know, like
Yeah.
the in-laws, they still do things the old way. They still do shaman rituals and whatnot. And me having no knowledge of it, it makes me look bad. You know.
Yep, I agree. Yeah.
Yeah, but
yeah. Me, I grew up as in a traditional family. My dad married 2 wives, all 3 of them, Leah, Xining, Nining. So I've been exposed to a lot of things growing up. My family, we were very traditional, did all the things. Well, no, how. So yeah, I've been exposed to it very early on. I mean, I was only exposed. It wasn't until like when I was in my early 20s when I really decided to step up and really
like take initiative.
take initiative and learn. And speaking of that, yeah, I mean, it's good to know, but it's a lot of drinking involved, but then the way I see it, it's up to you. The more you know, the more likely people will listen to you when you want to change roles, change the ways that we do. So yeah, I've been exposed a lot, which is good, because when I married Gal, her father relies heavily on me, which I kind of see as a good thing, because like
You have a lot to offer. you know?
like man, this is me, I can help you.
This guy.
But then Tito is like, oh man, like please don't ask me, like I want just to sleep in today.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Everybody wants to, but man, I kind of like it when they have the expectation on me, because it shows that they trust me to do things.
Yeah.
So that's kind of how I see it, because when they expect you to do something, it's kind of like they're seeing that, oh, you can do it, and they're relying on you. I mean, it's a double-sided sword, double-sided blade,
Double-edged.
Yeah.
double-edged. There you go. Where sometimes they're like, oh man, they know you're reliable, so they're gonna ask you all the time. You're like, damn man, I did the last 4 or 5 times to ask someone else. Like, no, only you can do it. I'm like, yeah, that's not true. Anybody else can do it. It's just
Yeah.
You're
they're
like
not
the
willing to do
go-to.
it.
Yeah.
You
I
know,
know. I know what you mean. It's kind of like that for me too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because like there's me, Jessica has 2 other sisters, right?
Yeah.
And they're both married too. But then, just from what I see, then like
You're able. And
I'm more able and I'm more
willing.
I guess it also has to do with the fact that like me and Jessica, like we're in, I wouldn't say good standing, but I would say like financially and all that other stuff. Like
You guys have no
we
kids.
have no
Yeah.
kids,
Just
and
you
we're
two.
It's just us. And
Quite stable.
yes, they quite stable, and so
Yeah.
it's more it's easier for her parents to just call upon us to go help,
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so I find it that more like frequency wise, it's always us, more most of the time,
Yeah.
Oh, like come do this or do that, or oh, can you go and buy this for me or something,
Yeah.
When I'm like, well, your sister's like right there, like 10 minutes from her place, but I'm like,
No.
oh, like 30 minutes away. You're like,
No,
what?
like, I get that. I get that too.
Yeah.
But it's funny because it's my parents, and they usually ask me about like technology issues that they're having. Like, let's say, oh, for some reason the TV's not working. Like, oh, Aku, can you help me? And it's like, bro, like, Singy's at home.
Lives in the same house.
Wally's at home.
Yeah.
Like, y'all live in the same house. He's only like 2 doors down, or like he's home. So it's like, man, well, I guess I could help. And
Yeah.
then
Like, because
I get that.
you're able and
Yeah.
willing to help.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
They
exactly.
call you in every
I
time.
I totally understand that too, because like not with just Jessica's family, but like with my own family too. Like I totally like I have my younger siblings, like they live with my mom still, but then like she'll usually call us older siblings
No,
to
yeah.
help with things. Besides, I'm like, dude, like
They're
my
right
brother
there.
Ying's right there, like talk to him.
No, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, exactly.
All right, let's kind of change gears a bit here. Let's talk about like the gender roles. Like, how do you guys see it? Like, tell you not how the women's are cooking, guys are drinking. What do you guys think about that? Well, I guess I could start. I do have
Yeah.
a few points because with Jenny and my family, we do that a lot, and And I do see it, like a lot of times it's the ladies cooking, and then the guys are drinking beer in the garage or something and having a good time while the ladies are, cooking, slaving away, right? Pretty much. But then there's also a side to that too, like, because most of the people who are drinking and just having fun, those guys, they're the type, they're not always, but they're usually the type of guys who are not gonna help out with anything, like go buy stuff, your day, your mall, go butcher the animals.
I see that too. I agree.
A lot of that it's usually the guys who are not willing to help out, and that's the majority of guys, who you see just always drinking. If you look next time, if you guys are viewers, listeners, pay attention to that a little bit. Like, if you guys have a family function, pay attention. Who is just the guys on this side? Which guys are the ones drinking? Which guys are the ones helping out? Because most of the time, if you see the guys that are helping out, they're usually not the ones outside drinking beer all the time. They're helping. Yeah, they have roles to do.
Roles.
Yeah. And it kind of, when girls say that it's always the guys drinking, and it's like, yeah, it's true, but then those guys are the guys that are not going to help anyways.
I had a problem with that when I was listening to the girls. I was like, kind of generalizing a little bit. It's not really true, because like when it comes to like those family functions and all that, like even before, like when I met with Jessica, like I tried to be involved as much as possible. Like, hey, did you need help with this? Did you need help with that? Like even like I grew up in a Christian home. Like when we still do like family functions and stuff,
you gotta help out. Right?
Yeah, I still gotta help out. I still gotta go tongai, cut meat and stuff like that. Like I will help out, instead of like sitting around and playing games or like drinking beer or those kind of things, Right. And then after I got married with Jessica, like I still continue to do that. Like, hey, can I help with this? Can I help with that? The one example I always talk to Jessica about is like when her grandma passed, like a few years back. I was like super involved, I was super involved, and I was helping out like my father-in-law. I would say like probably 80 or 90% of the time when I was there, and I remember that was during the time when the Vikings, they did really well.
Super Bowl?
Yeah, and they almost made it, right? They almost.
Oh yeah, so it was Super Bowl here.
Yeah, it was like I remember it was like during
18,
the Minneapolis Miracle or something. It was during that time.
Yeah,
and then I remember during the funeral, the game was on too. The Vikings were playing.
And everybody was watching, right?
A lot of the in-laws and everything, they were over there watching the game. I was like, what the heck? But then I'm there, I'm working my butt off,
Yeah.
I'm helping my father-in-law. I'm doing whatever he's asking me to do. I'm doing whatever my mother-in-law is asking me to do, So
props, yeah.
Oh, thank you.
Good
Thank
job.
you. So I totally get what you're saying. Like, yeah, pay attention to that, like who is helping and who is not, and who is just like drinking beer, I'm not saying like people who
never
are
drink, right?
Like, I'm not saying like I never drunk or like, like, because there are times too where I'm like, oh man, like I've done my share. This one time I'm just gonna chill back and sit back and like drink a beer with the guys too,
Yeah.
But then like, I guess like just pay attention to like the frequency, I would say,
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and also I think on a few notes that I have is like, pay attention who willingly goes to the table and sits too, because they're more willing to learn and listen to whatever the OGs are saying, and to really get the process down. Because there's a lot of instances where we go to family functions, and when it's time to pull people to sit at the table and like do the busy work, a lot of people like run away from that.
All the guys run away.
Yeah, and like the table is all for guys, right? But then a lot of them like run away and don't want to step up.
Don't want to learn. Don't want to do nothing.
Yeah, and I find myself like wanting to sit at the table, not because it's like a privilege, but it's more so like a learning mechanism for me.
It's a learning process.
Yeah, it's a learning process. And I mean, honestly, everything in the Hmong community is all by work, and it's all by your vindication to like really step outside of your realm to like learn.
Want to do.
Yeah,
if you don't. You're not gonna be like one day, oh, I'm gonna learn, and then you learn. No, it's every day, all the time. You have to go. For those who don't know, like every time we do a Hmong function, at the end of the day, the leaders or tuning or the hupli, we set a table and everybody eats, and then they usually have something to say to the family, and then there's customs that we have to do, how to drink, how to say thank you to everybody who's there, I've sat at the end of the tables before, and it's kind of quite jarring, It's like, man, like everybody's listening to you now, but then once you do it, it's like, oh, it's not much, It's just you make sure everybody's drinking the beer, the thank you beer that's going down the table, and the words that are being said and whatnot. And a lot of people don't do that. I'm 29 and I still have a lot to learn, but like there are people who are like in their late 30s who can't even do that, and it's all because they just, like you said, they just never.
Yeah, they kind of run away from it.
They run away from it. They're like, "You man, go do it." I'm like, why don't you do it? I'm like,
Yeah.
well, I mean, I guess I'm doing it, but now I know. And now look at you. You don't know anything.
Yeah,
But so
exactly.
it's all like a self conviction thing. If you want to learn,
You do it.
you do it.
Yep, exactly.
Because those roles, Hmong people, they're always so humble. They don't want to do those roles, right? Even though if they know, they don't want to do those roles.
I noticed that too. Like family functions, like I guess the most noticeable one is like weddings, right? Like Hmong weddings.
Yep, weddings.
Like with the like when they sit at the table, and I noticed that like the guys who want to help, that want to learn, they'll go.
Yeah,
and
they
be
step
around
up.
the table.
Yep,
Yeah.
they
Or
step
go
up.
and sit in the table, and then there are those other guys who will just stay outside and do their own thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, they could drink, like, but
can drink,
like
but-
they can slam a
yeah.
beer and whatnot. But like when it comes down to the customs, like
They don't know.
They don't-
They don't.
Yeah.
They will not. They don't participate. You
Yeah.
know. Yeah.
so,
So.
yeah,
And then I guess we could talk about, I guess the different roles on the table too, like because it's all men.
yeah.
Would you guys be accepting if women sit at the table?
Oh yeah,
Because-
I'm totally fine if they sit at the table.
Yeah, because I think our generation, like it doesn't really matter. Like if you could do the job, then yeah, sure, you sit at the table. And I think it's difficult because the OGs, they see it a different way.
Yeah.
So it's
What's
a
the
different
lady doing
Yeah,
here? You
it's a
heard-
different limelight, you know.
Yeah, I think because a lot of them, I mean, I joke around with Jessica all the time. It sounds bad, but I'm like, sometimes like even though as much as you wanted to, like equality, right? But then like because that generation is still there, they still hold a lot of the old traditional values
They
and
still have a lot of
thinking,
power,
a lot of power. Then they don't want to do that.
Yeah.
And so it's tough, because like for me personally, I'm like, yeah, if you want to set a table, set a table. I'd rather go and do dishes and cook. I don't want to drink, Yeah. So
Yeah. And I guess that goes back to what I said, the more you know, the more people are going to listen to you. And if you're more progressive, forward thinking, and allowing other people to sit at the table, allowing women to sit at the table, people are more willing to listen to you. You could be like the best person and you know all the rules, and then you be like, yeah, man, son, have your wife sit down, or daughter, sit down, we're all going to eat, and then just have the kids. Now it's going to be the kids' turn. Like, kids, take care of the food, which, and it could go down the generation, it could change. But then that starts off with you, the more willing you are, you can't be a nobody. Be like, you don't know nothing about the tradition, and be like, all right, why the woman's always just sitting, or why is it always the men sitting and the woman feeding them? Yeah, it looks bad, But then, if you know, more people are gonna be willing to listen to you to change, because they're gonna look at you and be like, oh, he knows what he's talking about.
Yeah.
He knows all the culture, he knows the customs, he knows whatever. Let's listen to him because he's the one who knows.
Yeah.
And it starts with you as a progressive one. If you want to change it, you have to learn it to change it.
yeah.
And I do like how some weddings nowadays are like, I wouldn't say like foregoing the table, but like when they need the table, they get stuff done. But when it's time to eat, like they make it buffet style.
Yeah.
So there's no, like we eat before you guys. It's everybody eat at the same time.
Yeah.
And it's that kind of small change that makes me see like the light at the end of the tunnel. But there's for sure still a lot of what was it?
Custom.
Yeah.
roles.
A lot like custom roles for like patriarchy. There it is.
Yeah.
There's still a lot of patriarchy. Yeah.
Yeah.
And the change starts with us, you know. But
Yeah. It's difficult though because like I don't know too much because like
because you're not exposed to it. you know?
yeah, because like throughout my whole childhood, I was never exposed to it really until I don't know, like after I graduated college, and yeah,
And it's a learning process. I mean, you can never stop learning, you know.
Yeah.
And I guess one of the things the girls talked about is total learning, and then the shaman starts, and then the boys opening, you know. And then some of them are saying like they want to do it. I'm like, do you really want to bow down, put your head down on the ground, and come back? You know, is that something
Yeah.
you want? You know,
It
like,
reminds me of going back to Jessica's grandma's funeral. I remember one of the days, like before, maybe it was like a Saturday or something, because I remember it was in the morning. The guests were not there yet. So me, the brother-in-laws, and all the basically all the dudes in the family, right,
Oh, yep.
and their family, we all had to like line up and like
yeah.
and shaw, which is like you have to bow, right?
Yeah,
You're
bowing.
basically on your knees, your head is on the ground, you're like this to like all the guests who are coming in.
Oh,
you know?
that
Yeah, and I'm like,
yeah, but that,
I'm like,
that time.
yeah, that's a different thing. But we had to do that until all the guests were seated, and then we went and did our own thing. I was like, Jessica, you sure you want to do that? I mean, more power to you. You can do it. You know, like I'm all about equality.
But it looks kind of weird, right, with the girl, because they never had to bow.
Yeah, I mean, when we're talking about like weirdness, like to me, it doesn't really affect me. Like, I think it's just more of what you think as an individual. If it's weird to you, it's weird. But then, like,
It's weird to me.
I would say like, if it's weird to you, it's weird. But I wouldn't like generalize. Oh, like it's probably weird for all girls. You know, like how when the wives were saying in their podcast.
yeah.
Yeah, I wouldn't say it like from that angle though. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, also coming from like the Christian background, at least for my parents, like whenever there was any like shaw or bowing or anything, my parents told us to strictly never ever do it because it's not part of being shaman. Because you don't ever bow your head to another religion because you are already in like, I guess like a different religion, you know, or
Yeah.
you're under the protection of God and the graces of God.
So you don't need to do that.
Yeah.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. No, I know what you're saying.
Yeah.
Because I grew up Christian too. So
And
I know what
it's
you're saying.
interesting because there's so much in Hmong culture that's evolved or that involves like bowing or paying respects. And you know, sometimes when we go to my in-laws side, like funerals and whatnot, like I sit out from like tolo or like when they're bowing and stuff, and I feel like I'm
The odd one out.
the odd one out, and I'm being disrespectful because I'm not joining them.
Yeah.
You know.
I
But
can see
then-
that.
Same.
Yeah.
Yeah. The way I see it, I mean, I love to talk about religion. Maybe we could do this a different podcast.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
That'd be a good topic. Yeah.
yeah. But like, the way I see it, it's a cultural practice, and it is what it is. But we'll be right back. We're gonna take a quick break, and we're gonna continue this talk.
Yep.
All right, welcome back to Real at Midnight. After the break, we were talking about a lot of stuff, and let's move on. We were talking about the lady was talking about like fixing cars and whatnot, and getting their
yeah.
hands dirty. And do they see? Do they agree? I don't know. You guys have something to add to that?
I mean, I got something to say about my wife. I was kidding.
Do it. Do it.
She was talking smack about me a lot, guys. And that's okay. You know, she can say whatever. Say what she thinks and what she feels. You know, those are valid thoughts and feelings, right? So
Valid, yeah.
it's totally okay. I guess for me, when I was listening to the girls' podcast, some of the things like I didn't necessarily agree with or like resonate with, because like she'll point things out and say, oh, like I don't do this, I don't do that. I don't know what to look for in the house and what to clean, you know. But for me, it's like sometimes I'm like, well, when it comes to other
She's
things,
staring at you.
you know, like when we're talking about like finances or whenever your car breaks down or something like goes on that you don't know how to fix, like you come to me, you know, and sometimes you don't even come to me. Sometimes I initiate. I'm like, okay, let's get this fixed. Let's do this. approach it from this angle. Let's get it done. You know, I know maybe sometimes I'm just lazy, and that's typical human nature. You know, I would have to say.
We want to find the most comforts.
Yeah.
You know,
anything.
because like, you know, there are days too when it's like, you know, like I don't say things to her, like I don't say like, hey, you need to cook for me, you know, you need to do this and that for me, because gender roles, right? You're my wife, you're supposed to do this. Like I never say any of those things to her, and I never talk smack about her about those things.
Oh yeah.
So when she says those things about me, I'm like, calm down a little bit, calm down, you know. And so yeah, I mean, that's pretty much all I have to say. You know, I mean, if she wants to learn how to fix cars and all that, like by all means do it. You know, more power to women that can do that. You know,
Yeah.
because if they can do that, great. If more guys can, like, you know, help clean, help do stuff too, like reversing those roles or reversing
Those jobs.
Yeah.
right?
Those chores.
And that's cool too. You
Oh,
know,
yeah,
that's
for
cool
sure.
too. Cause like me and Jessica, like when we're at home, like yeah, like I try my best to help do dishes. I try my best to help clean the house too. Sometimes I'm lazy, or sometimes when it's like, I mean, you're working 8-hour shifts, and I'm salaried. So sometimes I work more than 40 hours a week. You know, and you guys know that too.
We know.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Sometimes
Sometimes I hear I'm hanging out with you guys. I'm still doing my work. You
Oh
know?
yeah.
And so
Yeah.
I try my best. You know, sometimes there are days when I'm just like, oh, I'm so tired. Like, I'll get to it, or like, hey, like if you want to do it, let's do it together. You know, but then like, I don't know. To me, it just rubs me a little bit wrong when she says those things. But then it's kind of like, I don't say it to you. Okay, whatever. That's a different topic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of it stems from how you grew up, and specifically like your roles within the family at home.
True that.
Because I think you talked a little bit about it earlier. We'll just touch up on it again. So like in my role as a family member, I went to school a lot, and then school I had a ton of extracurricular activities. And
So you
when
weren't always home. You weren't always home.
I weren't always home. And when we came home, like I worked through high school too. So I bought my own food, had my own diet, played tons of sports. So there were certain nutritional needs I had. So like I cooked my own food majority of the time. Like, you know, I still eat with the family when I come home and my parents make food and things are ready. Like for sure, like I try to help out with the dishes afterwards, of course. I clean my dishes when I'm done. Sometimes I don't get to it because, you know, after a long days of playing sports, you're just tired. You get home late, and then you just kind of just want to relax, do homework, and then knock out, right? And then I went away for college, and I lived on my own. And living on your own,
If you do everything yourself.
yeah, exactly. We had roommates, and then we had roommate agreements. So I learned how to live by those means,
Those rules.
how to, you know, keep after yourself, clean after yourself, all that. Now living with my wife, like I give her like, oh yeah, don't touch the dishes. Like I'll do that like tomorrow. Like I don't feel like it today. Like I'll still do it. I'll do it tomorrow though. I mean, she might want it done like tonight,
Now.
like now, and it's like, oh well, I like told you, like you don't have to take care of it. Like I'll do it. But if she does like initiate doing it, I'm like, okay, well, I'll just forego everything that I was going to do later, my relaxing time, and I'll just clean the dishes now, like get that done, get that over with. And then as for like food and cooking and whatnot, like I guess the feminine roles, right? Like I like cooking a lot, and mainly like once the day's done and it's dinner time, I always ask Poho like what she wants to eat. She's more of the picky eater, so like I always try to cater around what she wants. So whether or not that be whatever we put in the fridge, or you know going out to eat. Now we have been trying to budget more by like buying groceries ahead of time, but then that's kind of iffy too because we don't really eat the same type of meals. So, and then also we have to plan many meals throughout the week because leftovers, I always get leftovers because I don't want to like say Pohoa only likes fresh food.
But you are saying it.
But yes. Like if we make pho, more than likely the next day she won't eat it. I think the easiest food for her to eat multiple times within a week would be like egg rolls, you know, because you can make the egg rolls. You could
Easiest.
you could freeze it,
Like,
and then you could fry them the next day or like 3 days out.
Yeah.
So it's like a pre-roll, and then you just like fry it, you know. So it's a little bit easier.
Yeah.
And you know she loves egg rolls. She loves the texture kind of thing. So easy, but not the healthiest kind of thing.
Yeah.
You know, deep fried foods. But
Interesting.
now about cleaning the house, I always see our house as pretty clean, very presentable. If anything, maybe just a few personal items here and there on like the coffee table. And I mean, only the public spaces really need to be presentable in my eye. So like in the room, like let's say I only wore socks throughout the whole day in the house. They never really got dirty. So I would just like throw them on the floor because in the bedroom, you know, and you know, because I'm gonna wear them tomorrow, but I don't sleep in my socks, so like I wear it tomorrow.
Yeah.
Interesting.
And where it's messy, I guess we have different definitions of messy, you know. Like for me, it's just more convenient to take my socks off, put it on the floor at one spot, like it's organized chaos in a way.
The spot where you know it's gonna be because that's where all the stuff goes.
Yeah. So then I put it there. Next, I go to
It's not
sleep.
pleasant to her eyes, so she needs you to get rid of it. Right?
Yeah. But also about the automotive thing, I take care of a lot of our automotive issues, just because that's like a hobby of mine. I like tinkering, and I would never expect her to
Touch
pick
a
up a
car.
wrench. Like if she wants to learn, yeah, for sure. If she wants to like know more about it, yeah. But I don't think she would use, I guess, her brain power or energy in that fact because she knows it's taken care of.
Because you got it. Right?
Yeah, because I got it. And so
Why would she? Right?
yeah. So it's like a done deal. Like I got it. Like babe, that's fine. But honestly, if you want to learn, like I got tons to teach you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like I don't mind a girl that could touch cars because that'd be cool. We could share interests. Yeah.
Yeah.
True that, man. Yeah. And, when the girls were talking, like, one thing she mentioned was that, like, I would have my jackets on the kitchen chairs.
Oh yeah.
Because that's
That's
we
right.
ain't got no hooks, right? So that's
Yeah.
the first thing I do when I get home from work. Take off my jacket, put on the kitchen chair, because that's where I leave it there because that's the first thing I do. I take off my jacket, I put it there, and
And I guess more than likely you'll take Lumi out.
yeah.
So you're
more
just
than
like,
likely I'm gonna take
where?
our dog out at night, and I'll put my jacket there so it's easy to grab when I go out.
Yeah.
You know, I don't want to go. I guess I can bring it to the closet, put it
Yeah.
away.
But it's like the easiest solution though.
Yeah.
'Cause-
It's like, it's just us two. I don't need to make, like you say, it's organized chaos, right?
Yeah, organized chaos.
Like, I can just put it there. When I need it,
Yeah.
I grab it. It's right there. You know,
Yeah.
it's,
It,
you know,
it makes me think about their conversation when they talk about like gender roles. When they're talking about like, oh, like we have to make the home presentable for other people, right?
yeah.
We have to do those
And
things.
Jessica said that.
Yeah,
and
Jessica
that
said a
said
lot
that
of
you
things.
said that they don't live here, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, exactly.
Elaborate.
It kind
Elaborate.
of relates to what you were saying, though. It's kind of like it's just you and your spouse, right? Or like whoever you're with, right? So like it's just me and Jessica. We don't have kids. We don't have other people living with us, and so we just have to worry about how we like to live our life and how we want to do our home, you know. And so like, yeah, we try to clean our home too, because I mean that is like I guess a responsible thing to do, you know. You want to make sure you're keeping up with your home, making sure it's clean and all that. But then like sometimes when it's messy, or sometimes when you just did the laundry, you don't have time to get back to it. It's there in the living room. It's there.
Yeah.
What can you do about it? You know, I'll get to it. You know, like I always try to get to it, or like try to work on it too. But then there are days when like we go on for days and then it's just right there.
No, yeah.
And we're just so busy, you know. But the thing is, like I don't I don't worry about it too much, just because at the end of the day, in my mind, I'm like, like I'm paying the mortgage. I'm paying the mortgage. I'm paying the bills, everything. My wife, we're both doing this. So I honestly don't care what other people think about us, or I don't care about pleasing others.
Yeah, because because you're living your own life.
Yeah,
you know?
I'm living my own life, whatever. If they have something to say, then it's whatever. It's just gonna go in one ear out the other. Because at the end of the day, if you're not paying my mortgage or whatever, then I don't really need to.
Because that also go back to like what they were talking about, like the responsibility of the lady, like the responsibility of the house is on them to keep clean. So that's probably why there was more, more frustration on their part. They were not taking initiative to help it.
Yeah, because I guess in the culture, it's more, there's a higher expectation for female roles or just females to clean the house. Because back in the day in Laos, when we were still like hunter gatherers,
it's not just Hmong people, just
in general.
In general,
yeah, because like the men are the breadwinners. They leave the house to make money, and then traditionally I won't say just like in old times, females would just stay home. They clean the house,
take care of the house.
They're home makers, home bodies, and that's how it was. But times are changing now. Like we both
times are changing, and I would have to say, like, if I think the reason why some people, or like for example, like our wives, for example, like they're still trying to navigate through all that stuff, and they're having all the expectations on them, and they're kind of like, oh, like, well, for us it's different, But I think for me, like I would just have to say, like, maybe challenge those things. Like, for example, like if you're so worried about other people having this different ways of viewing you, I would say that maybe start thinking about not caring about what they think.
Yeah.
And then also, if they do say those things to you, or if they have these expectations of you as a woman or as a wife to do all these things, maybe you should challenge those people.
Yeah.
Right?
Also, on top of that, you never really see like your father-in-law come to your house and say, "Oh, your house is dirty." It's mainly your mother-in-law.
True that.
Or like the OG like female roles, or like your aunties, or they're usually the ones that say something,
because they're the ones usually clean up, right?
Yeah. But then it's usually like them bashing each other. Even like, let's say the house is clean, right? But then coach still vacuum.
It's funny. It's like my father-in-law. He doesn't say that like household stuff, like cleaning stuff, but he'll say like other things like a man should do, like
your railing is wiggly,
or like or like I'm like, okay.
I don't
know. For example, like when we just bought our house, right? When Jessica just bought our house, there's like a nail, like a little small nail sticking out of one of the what do you call it, on the side of the doors?
Like trims.
The trims, right?
Yeah.
And he's like, oh wow, why don't you take this nail out? I'm like, I'll get
fine.
to it. I'll get to it. It's not really bothering anyone. And plus, I don't want to ruin my trim or by taking it out or whatever. What if like a piece of wood comes out with it, And then that's more trouble for me,
Yeah.
And so don't worry about it. And then later he
goes back. He sees it again.
There was a family gathering, right? And then he just picks at it. He took it out. I'm like, I'm like, I guess
Okay.
It is what it is now. Whatever, But yeah,
that's funny.
Yeah.
But let's bring it back. Like the girls were talking about, like they were talking about girls, like the expectations of the girls and yada yada. And then they're like, what if your son brings home a girl and she doesn't know how to help you around the house? Like maybe what if we or the ladies are putting those expectations on other ladies without knowing it, But what if we are also bringing that expectation on the boys? If our daughter had boyfriends, or if our, whatever, they come and then like, okay, I need you to help me. I need you to be strong to help me do this. And then, or a girl be like, I need you to be very good with your hands, help clean the house, If like, I can see that, like, if your son brings home a girl and and she doesn't help at all. She sits there, eats, go home, no helping. You're like, you're gonna give your son the look, like, you want to marry that? You want to tux with that?
Yeah.
Right? You're like, she doesn't know how to cook. She doesn't know how to help out on that. So maybe we are continuing putting that. out
Yeah.
there.
Also, like in that specific scenario of like, I wouldn't. What is it? I wouldn't. I wouldn't assume that she's disgracing her family.
Oh, I wouldn't assume that too, but what I mean, like, she doesn't have those skills. Like,
Yeah.
do you want someone with no skills?
I guess true.
That's interesting because I think for me personally, I would be okay with it actually.
Yeah.
Like if it's like if I have a daughter or a son and they brought like their significant other and it's the other gender, right? I would actually be okay like if they don't participate or if they don't know how to like or no like help cook and help do the stuff or like
It's
the
a plus
guy-
if they know
It's
it.
a plus if they know. Great. But I wouldn't say like, oh, if you don't know how to do it, then like I'm gonna hate on you because you don't know how to do it. You
Yeah.
know? Because what if they grew up differently, right? What if they
Exactly.
What if they don't
Exactly.
have those skills? Like it's not right for me to be like, oh man, just because you don't know it, you suck. You know?
Yeah.
You know?
That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is, what if we are continually putting these gender roles on
Oh yeah,
because they don't know it.
subconsciously,
Yeah.
subconsciously.
because they don't know it? You know,
Yeah, I think for me,
Like,
I
saying-
think about it too.
like saying it sounds good to be like, oh, it's okay if they don't know it. But
Yeah.
subconsciously, it's gonna be like,
Yeah.
why don't you know it?
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I know what you mean. Like it's definitely. I think it's good if they know what they're doing, and subconsciously, like I'm always like, oh man, like if they know, great. Like, but then like I guess there was one example where when I went with Jessica to because sometimes I do it too. I still think about it. Like I subconsciously just be like, oh man, like how come this person did do this? Like it would have been great if he
Yeah.
did this.
It
You
would
know?
have saved a lot.
Like for
Everybody's
example,
effort.
when we went to like a Thanksgiving, right, with like my in-laws with Jessica's family, and one of her cousins or one of her cousins brought over her boyfriend, right? But her boyfriend he was shy. I don't know. But he didn't come around and say hi to everyone. Like,
he didn't
right?
do like the greeting.
Yeah, he didn't do the greet that somebody,
Probably
right?
shy,
Shake everyone,
yeah.
and, you know, or introduce himself. Or
Yeah, I
like,
gotta
kind
think
of
about
like,
that too, but we
you know,
can
and so I'm
talk
like,
about that later.
Interesting. He didn't do that, you know, because gender roles. Right? We're talking about gender roles. A guy should do that. A guy should,
Especially if
know-
you're new, right?
Especially if you're
Yeah.
new to a family, or if you're dating someone in the family, you should go introduce yourself and make yourself known, right?
Yeah.
Right, but he didn't do any of that. So I'm like, interesting. And then I remember talking with Jessica on the way home, like, man, I feel like a little like hurt because he didn't come say hi, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, you know. But then like at the same time, I'm like, I had to hold myself back and be like, well, it's not right if I just like hate on him for that.
Yeah. Because he could just be a shy guy.
Yeah, he could just be a shy guy. I remember when I first dated my first girlfriend, I was super shy too, you know. So
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
like, I can't say that to him, you know, or think about like that to him. But yeah.
Yeah, so about the sambai and like greeting everybody. So one time we went to a funeral, right? Naturally I follow my dad. My dad shakes hand with people he know, and I follow him and follow his lead. I shake their hand, boom, 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 boom. But then there's one guy. I don't know if he's uncle or grandpa, but he's like, why are you shaking my hand? Like, I don't know you. And I'm like, what the hell? Like, I don't know you too. Like, get the fuck out of here. Like, I'm just being respectful. Like, why you being so aggressive to me? You know? And
What
it's
if
like,
he was
you
joking
know,
around?
no, his face, he was
was
serious.
not joking around.
He was not joking around. He was like, dude, like, why are you even touching me? Why even trying to like
Why you touching my hand?
Yeah, exactly. And I'm just like, bro, like,
I'm shaking your hand. Something wrong with that?
I'm just like, you know, following my
Making
lead of
my
my
rounds.
dad, making my rounds.
Yeah.
Honestly, like, I don't know you either, but it's like in my eye, like respectful to like meet all the elders and everything.
Yeah.
But in his eye, he's like, dude, like who are you? Like why are you even in my limelight? Like get out of here, kind of thing. You know, like maybe he'd be like,
Son?
maybe he has like an ego kind of thing. But I don't know.
Yeah, maybe it's just him.
That's like that's beside the fact though. You know.
Yeah.
That's interesting. I've never
That is
had that.
interesting.
But, wow. Well, just speaking of me personally, man, like, I feel like I would judge. Like, if, like, my son or daughter, they bring around a girl or a guy, whatever, and they don't, like, walk it down, I would judge them. But then again, I guess,
Harshly or just kind of, just off the bat, kind of like, oh, you don't know it,
Yeah.
then Matt.
wouldn't be too harsh, but it wouldn't be off the bat. Be like, why don't you know it?
Like, come on, 可能用以上一个去暴力
Yeah,
kind of thing.
Why
right?
don't you know it? You know.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
But then like if I know his history, then I'd be like, oh, okay, I see why. He didn't have that experience, whatever, you know. Good. He doesn't have exposure, fine. But then I would have that expectation on him. I would have that expectation on him to want to learn.
Yeah.
Because I hold that to my dalo, guys, younger brothers. Like if they don't know something, I make sure that they get involved. Because like that's how they're gonna learn. If they don't get involved, they're never gonna learn.
No, same. Yeah.
So like I like the time was Sujan's Hoopli. He changed his name.
Yeah.
Like when you went to chop the pig. You
Yeah.
know, when they were like, "All right, chop the pig," blah blah.
Yeah.
I took lead, and the uncle was like, "Yeah, do this," and then he's like, "Oh, yeah, do like what he's doing," and then when I said to our friends, I was like, "Hey, that was a chance to learn."
Yeah. You're like, anybody want to learn?
'Cause
Anybody
I did the
like,
first pig.
everybody step up.
problem.
Yeah.
I was like, then the second pig, I was like, anybody want to learn? This is your chance to learn.
Yeah.
You know, if you don't, because we are all friends at that point.
Yeah.
We're like,
If you don't, you're gonna miss your chance.
yeah, if you don't, you're gonna miss your chance. Because it's me telling you guys now instead of you. And uncle's gonna yell at you, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
And
plus,
uncle and aunt, they're gonna yell at you, but like,
Yeah.
why don't you know what to do? Blah, blah, blah. Right?
Yeah.
and plus, like, there's times where like you do a little bit wrong, and then you get yelled at harshly
yeah. I know,
by
right?
like the
Oh,
uncle.
yeah.
But then like, the uncle's not even cutting, but he's watching your ass.
Right.
But it's like, bro, like, oh, like,
Shut up, man.
get off me, like, why you being so aggressive and like butthurt, like, oh man. And then like that deters you from
Doing it
ever
again,
doing
you
it
know?
again, you know.
Yeah.
So then, like, I rather just have it where the OGs see it in the limelight of like, oh, Tunachpo, like, let's
he's
teach
doing
him.
Yeah.
But he's willing to be here and like learn. So like, let's teach him instead of like bashing him.
Yeah.
And like, I'm happy that you took that step forward to like try to bring out someone that didn't know how to cut a pig.
I kind of wish that our elders taught us those things. I think this not just like gender roles or what we should know, what we should do with those things, but like just in general, like I feel like it would be so much more helpful if like they actually taught us, like, oh, like son, you should do this as a guy, or you should do that, learn how to do this.
So I guess something to say
like
about
just
that.
learning
Learning as you go, right?
And if you messed up, then they'll yell at you. I'm like, the heck, bro? Like we were saying, like,
No, honestly,
like you try
that's
and
how it
like,
is.
and then you mess up, and they just like, oh, you suck. Why did you do it that way?
You're so
And
stupid.
and you're so stupid, and it just makes you like, oh man, maybe I
tried,
don't
I
want to do
failed,
it anymore.
I'm not
I don't
gonna
want to
do
do
it
it anymore.
again.
You know?
Yeah,
And then-
and like to piggyback off of that, it's a lot of the Hmong culture is your firsthand experience, and you have to make your rounds, and that's how you learn. Like they're never gonna teach you.
There's not gonna be a class.
Yeah, they're never.
right.
I mean, like nowadays there are some classes, but a majority of it is like you go and you experience it, and you gain that experience, and then you report back, pretty much. Because like my even like cutting meat, like they expect you to just mess up, and then finally learn.
Yeah.
Because they're never going to tell you how to do it, but they're gonna be like, oh, you do this, and then
They
you're
will
off,
show you, right? They
and then
will
you're
show
off,
you.
Yeah, they don't.
and then you're like, okay, well, one cut, no, you did it wrong, ma, and then they're like bash you. He's like, well, you have to repeatedly fail to succeed.
Yeah.
Which is
And I've had my
toxic.
share of that, you know.
Yeah,
Yeah, it is pretty toxic.
it's pretty toxic.
And
And like,
there's more guys like you.
Yeah, that's why I told my friends like that at that time. We're like, now's the chance to
Yeah.
learn, man. Like,
because honestly, I did it twice when I was a little bit younger, and both times an uncle like bashed on me, and it's like, okay, well, fuck it then. Like,
I'm not doing it again.
I'm taking off my garbs. I'm not touching the knife anymore. I'm just out of here.
Yeah.
But then, you know, there's uncles that like wanted us to learn a little bit more. So then like, I mean, like honestly, they're like the younger uncles too.
Yeah.
So they're like
People like
more-
us.
Yeah,
who've
they're
been in the shoes.
yeah. They're more akin to our level. So they're like, okay, well, we'll help you out, and genuinely give you like direction.
Yeah.
Even like when I was asking my dad about like how marriages go, because when I was trying to get the process of our wedding, me and Popo's wedding, like, I was asking my dad like, okay, like I need to know everything about the process. But then my dad's like, no, don't worry about it. Like we'll take care of it. And it's
Yeah.
like, dude, like I need to know every little detail. But he's like, no, like we got it. Like, don't even worry about it. But
That's
it's like,
funny. That's the
dude,
same thing for me too.
but I need to know. Like, do I go there? Do I ask the dads? Do I ask him directly for his daughter's hand in marriage? Do I?
What do I do? Right?
Do I tell his
Yeah.
mom? Like my wife's mom? Do I? Or do I just take her and then
Yeah.
like you'll set everything up? And it's like
Yeah,
Don't
went that
worry.
route, right?
yeah,
It's
yeah.
funny.
But then like
yeah, they'll
they're
say, "Don't worry, just follow the Mingong." That's all they say.
yeah.
That's
But
all
then
they
it's
say.
like
Yeah.
we need knowledge though. It's like we
Yeah.
don't want to make a fool of ourselves.
Right.
We want to make things as right as we can, right? But then the OGs are kind of preventing the knowledge to be passed down. They want you to. I even asked my uncles, and my uncle's like, "No, like,
Don't worry
no,
about it.
don't worry. You're gonna fail, and then you'll report back to me." And then it's like, dude, like, why are you?
Why are you expecting me to fail?
Why are you expecting me?
Why you set me
no,
up
no,
to fail?
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Yeah,
He's setting me
yeah.
up to fail so that I could learn from the failures to get better.
But you don't even know what you did wrong. You don't know what you did
Exactly.
wrong.
So like, why are you hoping and looking out for my fail, and hoping that
That would change you.
that changed me and that gives me experience? It's like, no, like you should really like give me a little bit of guide so that I could better prepare myself for any backlash, you know.
Right.
And that's one thing I don't like about the Hmong culture. Just it's a little bit toxic in that way because a lot of it is just rinse and repeat. You have to go, you have to watch it, you have to learn it, rinse and repeat,
Yep.
rinse and repeat.
You have to actively pay attention. You know,
Yeah.
nobody's gonna.
And I think
Nobody's gonna tell you what
that's
to do.
that's the difficult thing that I guess ladies
They don't see.
they don't see like or
being a guy.
because like not all of it is just going to family functions and getting drunk. The people that try, they're there to listen. They're there to watch. They're there to really
attention.
engage and pay attention. And it's difficult, like because there's so many things going around you, right? There's people trying to give you drinks. There's a lot of like family chatter. There's people you're trying to catch up with, but a majority of it is like the people that are trying. They're like the 15% of like the males there, because honestly, there's a lot of guys that just want to drink
Yeah.
and like catch up.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, that's a good point that you brought up.
no, yeah,
Yeah.
But anyways, guys, we're running out of time. Let us know what you guys think, and if any guys out there see what we see, comment below. Let us know. Then any of the ladies out there who learned something new today, let us know down below.
yeah. Or if you have a rebuttal, you know, like put it down in the comments.
Yeah. Or if like if you don't agree with what we said, or
If you
something
disagree,
we
if
said,
you agree, right?
Yeah.
you know,
If you agree, disagree,
it's
let us
okay to
know.
disagree. Yeah.
Yeah. But anyways, thank you for watching Real at Midnight today. Again,
Please like, share, and hit the bell, I guess. All right. Thanks.
see you guys.
See you guys
Bye.
around.